Hi, and welcome to my flower energy signature exercise. Now, there are a lot of different little things that I do, including this one, to build up energy signatures and to read flowers. This is very good in helping you understand the particular energy signature of a particular type of flower, but it's also equally fantastic for reading a flower that somebody brings you. If you've had any experience with reading auras, you'll understand this work because it's basically the same. It's very, very, very similar. I'm just going to show you a few little things that make it easier to do, and it also gives you something to keep afterwards. I keep these images myself. Even if I give them to someone that I've read for, I'll scan and keep them and give them the original most of the time. But I have a lot of these that I just keep for my research. I've given you the list of all the things you need, so I won't waste up any of the video time going through that again. I'll just launch into it so you can understand. Now, I'm going to go a little bit faster than ideally you would in real life, so just take a big deep breath and slow it down a bit. I just want to get through the technical things for you. As I said, this is but one thing, and it works best if you're doing research like I am or you're reading flowers professionally for people, to use it as part of the flower reading process. And yes, I do teach this in my class, but I teach a very how should I say, a little bit more in depth, a little bit sort of more in line with the other things that I teach as well. And there's a few other things that I do along this, but this, as I said, is a basic starter anyway, so you can understand, and you can use it on its own. So it's and it's good fun. That's the other thing. And no, you'll see, you don't need any art experience. All you need to know is how to colour in, and I'm sure we can all do that. Okay, this is the flower that I'm actually going to be reading with, and it's preferable that you have the flower with you. You can just use the image, it is possible, but if you just use the image, make sure you keep the image with you as well through the process. So you've got yourself into a sacred space, you've got candles, you've got scents going. Music is fantastic because it just switches off that over-analytical part of your brain as well. So the photograph needs to be against a dark background. I have little bits of cloth and things like that that I put behind flowers if they're in situ and I don't have them picked. And then you need your white ground to work on as well while you're doing this. And you'll recognise this if you've done any aura work, because teachers will often get you to stand against a white wall. So it's the same sort of thing. We just need to clear the space. Probably more clear than I've got it with all my things to show you, but just a nice open space for you to do it. Okay, so once we've sort of got ourselves mentally, spiritually, or focused in on our flower, and we have it against a white background now to focus on, we've got our picture there. Now, we're going to trace around, and this is why we have it on a dark background now, so it makes it a lot easier to do, as you will see. So you need a piece of tracing paper. Thought I had one ready. Oh yes, I do have one ready. There we go. So you can use anything at all to trace around with. I'm just looking for a sharp pencil. There we go. So what I want you to do is relax, and really you just go with the flow. If you feel that it needs to be done very slowly, that's fine. Sometimes, and a lot of times when I'm doing flowers, I feel like it's a really sketchy feeling, like get it done. That's the energy of the flower, get moving you on. And usually because it doesn't want to be overanalyzed. I can actually feel a lot of like go, go, go with this flower. That's daisies though. They're gorgeous for it. And as I said, we aren't, this isn't a drawing competition, okay? Just remember that. You are tracing over the lines and the form that you feel is right. That's all you're doing. So don't look at the hole and think, oh, it doesn't look like a daisy. That's not what we're doing here. We are noticing and drawing. And even if we notice and draw and the line becomes wiggly, guess what? It's meant to be. Because we're drawing auras here, okay? We're drawing the energy of this flower. We're not really drawing the form. Now coming in, I chose the daisy, well it is daisy week, but I chose it because there are a few different shapes here. So what you're doing is moving your pencil. I really feel like doing this fast, but it's totally okay. You might be drawn to do little dots. You might even, this is the sort of thing I wanted to show you, you might even be, even though it's all circles, for some reason you could be drawn to just to trace around the lines that are between the dots. Just do it. Don't think and analyze the outcome. Just be in the present. Anything you notice. Now this is a really good one to show you. I really felt like defining that circle and that dark bit here, but don't colour anything in. Okay, there's no shading or anything. That's it. So you've got your little tracing there. That's it. On your tracing paper. Now always keeping this nearby so you can see it, you can look at it. We're not referring to it to create form, we're referring to it to see the energy, okay? So just try to keep that in your mind. I know it's very hard, particularly if you've done art courses or you really want to draw or you're over anxious about drawing, or even if you are an artist already, so used to getting it right, you can fall back into that trap. But we're not talking about outcome or the outcome that you would have been used to seeking out. Now, the other thing I need, of course I can't find it right now, is a pen. So we're putting our tracing paper down. So we've got our white paper there, but we've got the piece of paper that our actual energy art is going to end up on. We put our tracing paper down. Oh, I'm sorry, our carbon paper. And then we put our image down on top of that. And I'm sure that you've all done this before. Now, just a minute while I find myself a pen. Oh, here we go. It's a pen someone gave me. Don't know where that one's from. So you need a ballpoint pen. Okay. Now what you're doing is tracing around, and the same thing, and we're not worried. Actually, it's really good if you get one like this that hasn't got any ink in it, because then you're really not worrying. But try to remember where you started, okay? So you can even put a little, mark there if you like with a piece of pencil, with a pencil, so that you know. So the same thing, tracing around, pressing quite firmly, and going all the way around. So here's one that I did earlier. Oh, there we go. There's a completed one. So we've got all the lines. And as I said, when you have a look at the difference between the one that I did on the tracing paper and this, there could be a difference, but I don't even look. I don't care, because whatever lines came up, that's all part of the process, and that's all fine. Now at this point here, what I find is a really good thing to do sometimes is to actually go over it with an eraser and just knock down that carbon a bit, because it can get a little bit smudgy, particularly if you're using watercolours, because I did sort of mention that as a possibility for your medium to do this. That's medium as in art medium, not medium as one of your friends who speaks to people on the other side. Sorry, that's just an spiritual art joke. That's a bad one, isn't it? Not making fun. Okay, but I do get caught up all the time when I say medium to people, because they say that to me and I'm just like, oh, no, art medium. And I say I've got to get my medium. Okay, so knocking that back just a little bit so we don't have the smudging, and then after that coming back in, as I sort of mentioned, any of more the earthier felt tip pens are better for the outlines. I seem to use a lot of olive green. You can use a grey if you like, or even a brown, and just going over the edges. Now, twofold gives you a nice crisp edge to follow your lines. Again, we're trying to go around the lines, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so whatever comes up, it seriously is meant to be, and it's not a cop-out. It really is. It's what was meant to show up. Not if you jibber-jabber. Well, no, actually I say that about jibber-jabbering, but it does switch off that analytical part of the brain, and it just lets things flow when you're talking, and when you're creating something. Probably not. It probably depends on the subject. Talking about these sort of things, okay. Probably talking about, I don't know, the Kardashians probably isn't. So yeah, subject would be important. So tracing over those, and the twofold thing is that you're popping it out a little bit, defining the edges for the next part of the process, but you're also sealing in that carbon so it's not going to be so smudgy either, and so you're giving yourself a little bit of form. So going around the whole lot, and then you let it dry for maybe 10 minutes or so you won't get the smudgies. So then you end up with, and I want to cover this over a little bit because I don't want you to see everything. So then you end up with, hang on a second, something that looks kind of like, there we go, that. So that one's actually done in a grey colour there. So that's that one. Okay, I'm going to leave that there as part 1 and I'll come back with part 2 in a moment.